Hello, this is Michael Williams, Principal Curriculum Developer from Oracle, and welcome to week 2 of the course. In this lesson, we're going to talk about 12-factor applications. So what are 12-factor applications? It's methodology for building cloud apps. So the app we build in this course is 12-factor compliant, and when we use the Oracle application container cloud service, that is also 12-factor compliant. So it's the design of this is to create applications that run well in the cloud. So the factors describe what the characteristics of the app are, and the factors are then applicable to any programming language. We're using Java, but of course you can apply this to Node or PHP or another language. So I'm not going to talk about all of them. I'm just going to talk about some of the ones you'll probably see in your labs when you do them. But if you want more information, go to 12factor.net there, and you can read about all the details. So what are the highlights? The first one here is code-based track and revision control. And typically, when we're doing development, we always use revision control. It's particularly important with Oracle Cloud because Oracle Developer Cloud Service can do automated builds and automated deployment off of Git repositories. So we'll talk about that in week 3. Explicitly declare and isolate dependencies. So this gets to the fact that all the apps are bundled with all their dependencies. So instead of relying on putting your libraries or whatever in some sort of cloud application and trying to get all the versions right and stuff, you just bundle everything with the app, and that makes, I think, the application deployment and stuff a lot simpler. Store configuration in the environment. So the applications, if you need to do any sort of configuration with the runtime of the application, you should be able to pick that information up from environment variables in which the application is running. And you'll see examples of that this week. Execute the app as one or more stateless processes. So for an application to be compliant, it must be stateless. Since our applications, there's one or more processes running, that means we can't store any state in the application. So for example, if I have a shopping cart, if I have 3 instances of an application running with a load balancer on the front, then what happens is my instances are selected kind of at random, right? So if I have a shopping cart on instance 1, and then I make a call and that gets routed to 3, then that instance wouldn't have that data from instance 1. So consequently, what we do is any sort of state has to be stored outside of your application. Typically, this is in a database, but there's other mechanisms you can use depending upon the software you're using. But typically, you're just going to use it. Any state information should be in a database. So some of the other factors here, export services via port binding. So this means your application should listen on a port provided by the environment. And so that's pretty straightforward, and we'll talk about that as we progress. Scale out via process mode. This basically means that your apps should be able to scale in and out seamlessly. And that goes back, this also relates back to the statelessness. If you have a stateless application, it doesn't matter how many instances you have, it'll still work the same way. So that's what allows us, the stateless allows us to scale however we want. And then we have treat logs as event streams. And basically the strategy here is to just write all log data to standard out. And then you can use external tools to then, if you have like multiple parts of your application writing to the logs, you can have the external tool filter those out into the different logs they originally are. So once again, I think the idea of that is to simplify things a bit. So that's kind of a summary of the highlights of 12-factor. And we're going to see how that relates when we actually build the app. We'll see some of those factors actually in the application as we build it. So that completes this lesson.